But I'd like to welcome you all to our meeting tonight. We've got a pretty exciting meeting planned for you. I'm Joyce Scott. I'm the president of the Utah eClub, and Devin Thorpe is our past president. And I would like to go into a Rotary moment. It'll just take a minute for us to do this.
Supporting your community is a selfless act, a commitment that reaches near and far. Giving to the Rotary Foundation has an impact you may never see, but people and communities flourish because of your gift. They thank you. We thank you.
All right, thank you. I would like to allow Laurel Kimball, our newest member, to introduce herself and say a few words.
Okay, Laurel, I gave you the floor there. Go ahead.
Laurel?
Now?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Okay, my earplugs weren't letting me be heard.
Joyce, if you, or Kelly, if you close that, stop sharing for just a second, everybody will see Laurel better.
Oh.
Of course, Laurel, you need to turn your camera on.
I don't know how it's not giving me the option, and I use Zoom every single day, so I'm not sure. I think maybe your settings, I have to be a panelist to be able to be seen.
Okay. Oh. I am so sorry. Let me make you a panelist. I forgive me.
No, it's fine. Okay.
Now, do you have your superpowers?
You know what? It's not letting me connect to video. Darn it.
Okay. Well,
I don't
go
know
ahead.
why. I'm sorry, but next meeting, I'll be able to show my face. So yeah, I'm Laurie Kimball. Well, my name is Laurel, but I go by Laurie. Either one, it's fine. I guess how I got to know Rotary is many years ago. I was a Rotary exchange student. So I left from the district that Kelly and Penny Atkinson were a part of, and they're very involved in the youth exchange. So they are very important people to me. I mean, role models, heroes in my life, for reals. So very thankful for all that they did for me as an exchange student. And years later now, this opportunity has come up to be a part. And so I'm very, very excited to join the club. A little bit about me. Besides that, I live in Denver, Colorado. I'm mom to 4 little boys, 7 and under. My husband is a clinical psychologist. He's just working on his residency this year. So, any other information?
Is your exchange student there with you, Laurie?
He is here on this call as well. He is Antonio Del Negro. I think you'll have to invite him to speak too, because he's not in the same room as me. Actually, I am in Utah right now, and he's in Colorado.
Okay. Antonio, if you want to just say just a couple words about yourself, we need to go on with our speaker, but you go ahead and tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, so can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I am an exchange student. I'm here since the beginning, the half, like August, so a couple of weeks. And my decision was to be here because I want to become more independent, and I want to learn new things, make new experience, know new people, a new culture. And also, I love my country. I love Italy, but I just want to see how it was living in another country without all the comfortable things that I had in Italy. So that's it.
All right, thank you so much. And we will hear more from Antonio and Laurie in upcoming meetings. So at this time, I'd like to turn it over to Devin to introduce our speaker. Thank you, Devin.
Fantastic. Well, it's a thrill and an honor to be here tonight. Joyce, thank you for allowing us to do this tonight. But Paul Summers has been leading what we've been calling the Native American Initiative here in the Utah Rotary District for 18 months or 2 years now. And he's just done incredible work. You just wouldn't believe the impact Rotary's had if you didn't know Rotary. It's almost unimaginable, the scale. And so I've learned to love and admire Paul, and I'm thrilled that he's here with us tonight to talk about this great project, the big project, the context, and the Halchita Project that we'll be talking about a little bit more tonight. So anyway, Paul, take it away. Are you ready for me to start sharing your PowerPoint?
Yes, if you would, please. That'd be great. It's
Okay.
certainly an honor and a privilege for me to talk to this eClub. This is first for me to talk to 60 some people that I can't see. So I hope what the information we have to present here tonight will be useful to you and help you understand what we've been trying to accomplish. So as Devin indicated, this is the name of our program, and it's been a great ride. We started back in probably June or so of 2020. Governor Sam Sappington was then not quite governor at the time, but we formed this group, and it's been a real exciting thing to do. Go ahead to the next slide. Am I doing that? Okay. We have 15 different clubs in Utah involved with this NAI program. As you can see them all there. Salt Lake, the one that was on for the Salt Lake Club transferred to the Bountiful Club, and so we haven't got a replacement on that for that club just yet. But these are great people that have been very instrumental and helpful in making things happen in this endeavor. Okay. These are just a few of the slides I'm going to go through to give you an idea of our deliveries that we did. We focused on COVID supplies. The Navajo Nation was the area that the Utah portion of the Navajo Nation was the area that was really impacted in our state and really needed help. And so this is one of the first loads we took down. And I say loads, and I mean that. There was probably 5 different loads, big trailers, trucks, vans, and so forth. And this building here that you're looking at was filled clear up, as well as a big trailer that was taken outside to the different rural areas. Go ahead, next slide. This is the group that there's another tribe that's located just 12 miles south of Blanding called the White Mesa Ute Mountain Utes, and this is where we took a bunch of supplies. And in this picture with me and my wife, she's the one with her eyes closed, which is kind of normal for her with pictures when she takes pictures. And Chuck Baker, and Chuck is on the board of the Salvation Army, and so he was one instrumental in getting a lot of boxes of food and supplies there. Okay. We had a request for water tanks. There's several of these remote villages that have haul water, and they've only been able to do it in 10-gallon tanks or things like that. And so they said if we could have water tanks that we could sit in the back of our pickup that would work a lot better for us. So we got 12 275-gallon water tanks and took down to them. Next slide, please. And this is the lineup of the pickups there in Blanding where we delivered them that came in to pick them up. It was kind of a heart-wrenching situation there for us to to see these people so happy to be able to get something to haul water with. I mean, to most of us, that's really foreign, but to these people, that was a blessing to have these tanks. Next slide. We also then got a call from a club in California, Southern California, and they had a bunch of clothing that they wanted to donate. They could get it for us, and so we had several pallets that we could get. The only problem we had is how to get it here. Governor Sappington knew Doug Andrus, or Jim Andrus, who owned Andrus Trucking, and he volunteered free of charge to haul them up. And they're in this shed where a friend of mine owns this storage sheds, and he volunteered to let us have this as long as we needed it to store them. So there's great people, when they know what you're trying to accomplish, will really step up and help. Next slide. This was an interesting project. A year ago now, we had a big windstorm that all along the Wasatch Front here in Utah, and we got a request. There was a request came in from Blanding, Utah, that the people down on the reservation really needed wood. I was honored to be on a committee made up of several people from the Church of Jesus Christ, Latter-day Saints, and organized all of this. There was 80 truckloads, and if you look at the picture on the left there, that's the truck, but also there's a trailer behind it, which constituted one load. And so there was 80 of them taken to Blanding, and you can see there the pickup trucks from the Navajo folks picking up the wood. Go to the next slide, please. And this is what it looked like about a week later. So that wood got picked up and was a godsend for them throughout the winter. Okay. All right. One of the other things that I feel really, really happy about is that I got a call from Brent Thorne, a wonderful Rotarian from Richfield, and he said he wanted to start a Snow College scholarship for Native Americans, and wondered if our committee could help. And we said, absolutely, we'd love to be able to get involved with this. And his club was the primary donor. We said, see, $60,000 was donated. That's the date. It's still growing, I believe. It takes $35,000 to establish the scholarship as a minimum, but we got $60,000, and from our committee, we donated $13,000. We got $1,000 from the governor's collaborative grant, and out of all this, now we funded three $2,000 scholarships for the coming year for 3 students, 2 Navajos and 1 Chippewa student. So this is really a cool thing, and I'm really happy we're doing it. It's called the Utah Rotary Native American Scholarship. Next slide. This is just some other slides. The one on the right, the group there, with the kids, is down in Halchita, where we're going to be talking about in a few minutes. The one on the left is from people from McCracken Mesa, another isolated village down that we brought some supplies to. Next one. This is Debbie Ray, and Debbie's one of the best scroungers that I've ever found to find good deals on food. And this is a load up we've taken down to Red Mesa. And change the slide, please. And this is the Red Mesa Navajo Christian Church where it was delivered. And this is, you know, it's a long ways from along most places. It's fairly isolated places, and a lot of these villages are. So they were very grateful to receive the food. Go ahead. Next slide, Devin. And you can go to the next slide. This is just some of the people there at Red Mesa that we got pictures of. This was taken down to the village of Ojado. Ojado is just about 4 or 5 miles west of Monument Valley. These were really grateful people. Paul Monroe, who was the president of the Cedar City Club, delivered this. and he was pretty excited about it. I'm really glad Paul could do that. Next slide. We got a call of a need in Monticello. There was several Native people living there who had COVID, were isolated, and needed cleaning supplies primarily. So this is the load we took to Monticello for their help. Okay, next slide. And then this is the last one we did. This really was organized by a professor at Utah State University, Weber State University, and a bunch of his friends. We joined in. We contributed a fair amount of money to it as well. And this is the load taken down to Navajo Mountain. And that is really an isolated village. That's a long ways away. And this load here was taken by Stuart Richardson and his friends. And so, and there, I think, 4 or 5 loads followed behind this. Okay, next slide. And this is kind of the gruesome twosome. Stuart Richardson and I, he's been a wonderful helper for me, and just a great guy to work with. And this is the load we had was taken down someplace. I'm not sure where. Okay. All right, Halchita Project. Now we're going to talk about what you hopefully all tuned in to hear. Why Halchita? Halchita is a small village that many people feel has just been forgotten. It was previously a booming community when the government had a uranium mill there that was functioning back in the late 50s and 60s. The government built a water system with a treatment plant, a storage and delivery system, an electrical system, and they even built houses for their mill workers. There was a Head Start program there, which occupied the building that we're going to be talking about. And they were there for several years. Then the government closed down the mill, the workers left, most of the residents in the village stayed. And the residents, along with other people that are familiar with this situation, feel that it's just a neglected group and there's no services there. They do have water and electricity, which is a blessing for them, but there's no stores. There's no, they all, when they work, they got to drive at least as far as Monument Valley and probably further in most cases. So go to the next slide. Well, I want to say just a bit more word about Halchita before we go to this slide, but after the Head Start program closed down and left this building, the San Juan Foundation and Lisa Carr, who is a wonderful contributor on our committee from Blanding, is the executive director for the San Juan Foundation, and they purchased the building, and so, but it's been sitting empty for about 5 years, and she is very anxious. The foundation is very anxious to see this building occupied. And I'll just tell you, the plan is when we get this building completed, it'll be turned over to the folks at Halchita and probably the Utah Chapter, which is the chapter covering this area. And to those of you who don't know what a chapter means, it's like a county in the Navajo Nation. And so that's how it'll be. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So our goal for this project is for Rotarians to work with the Halchita residents, the Utah Chapter, on this existing building to make a community center for them. The community center would be a facility for the community for educational, religious, or community activities. It will include a computer library with up to 5 computers with hookups to fiber optic cable for excellent internet services. So this will be a facility that they can use from kids on up to do their schoolwork, I've visited with the IT person at the San Juan County Board of Education, and he is very keen on making sure he helps us get the right hookups for these people and have them so they got access to all of the educational programs. So it's a pretty cool deal. Next slide. Just to give you an idea what the area looks like. This is only part of the village. Some of these buildings were built by the government. As you can see, some of them are a little more sturdy places. The water tank's up on the hill, and the water treatment plant is down on the San Juan River. And it's just been upgraded, and I haven't been able to find out exactly if it's still functioning now, but it was near completion the 1st of August. And so heretofore, they've hauled water up to these tanks, so they've had water going down to the people. Next slide. Okay, I've already covered the information here, but now you can start to see the building. Go to the next slide. This is what the building looks like. So it's a pretty decent sized building. This is the front entrance. Next slide. As you can see, that's the Head Start, I guess, logo, whatever, on the side of the building there. Next slide. And actually, there's water enough around to grow a tree. So, and then off at the right there, you can see the big propane tank that provides propane for the furnace. Next slide. In the back of the building, and I don't know, on my screen, I have me and other people lined up, so I can't see the right side of my screen very well, but this is a playground. And if you look at it, it looks new. I mean, it really does. But what we need to do is go through this and make sure everything, all the bolts and everything are tight. It's ready for kids to use. Go to the next slide. And you can see a little bit more of the playground that's there. But right behind it is a ball field. This is a field that was used a lot at one time, and the kids, they all sound like they want to have it refurbished and fixed up so that they can use it again. And you can see there's lights around the ball field. I really don't know for sure at this point whether they work or not, but they're there. Next slide, please. This is a little bigger view of it, and off to the left you can see, I guess it's the dugout, which is pretty ramshackled, and the part of our project will be to see if we can't make that a little more functional. Next slide. Okay, inside the Halchita building, this is where a lot of the work will be done, so let's look at that. That's the front door, and that's the entrance to come in, and these blue doors that you can see there, and I don't know, can you see my cursor? Anybody? Okay. Anyway, the blue doors open up, and then there's a room behind there, and that's where a book library will go. And Debbie Leray and her husband Jim are working on getting that put together. They've applied for a district grant to fund that, and we're going to also call on people to help us with books and so forth to make that a nice little library for them. Next slide. Well, before you go, Devin, go back to that. There is some furniture in the building. That's probably one of the few tables that are here. That's just a small table. And you can see, you know, the building isn't in real bad shape. There are some things as we go along, you'll see needs a lot of help. Go ahead. That's back in the, that door that's open goes to the furnace room. There's 2 furnaces in there, actually. We'll probably remove that sink. And if you go in this door on the right, that's where you go out to the playground. There's another table there. Go to the next slide. In the bathroom, this sink will come up to about your knees or your thighs, depending on how tall you are. This was made, of course, for the little kids in Head Start program. So we'll be replacing these, moving that up to more of a regular size, and replacing the toilets inside as well. Next slide. Ceiling tiles. There's been a leak up there, and ceiling tiles have been destroyed. We will be replacing all of the ceiling tiles, the lights in the ceiling, and that will really make a difference. We have a great friend of Rotary, Bob May, who had his whole career in the electrical area, electrician, and he is guiding us on this electrical part of this project. Stuart is working on getting all the panels, so forth. So this will help. Now you look down this hallway, that goes back to the restrooms. No, this is on the other end of the building, and that goes back to storage. And off to the right, we'll see that picture in a minute, is the kitchen. Go ahead. And this is the kitchen area. There's what I don't have pictured here is the stove. There's a nice big electric stove there, and sinks, as you can see, in the cabinets. Some of these cabinets are not in very good shape. We've talked about picking up some good used cabinets to replace them with. Okay, next slide. So the work to be accomplished, this is the list. And a lot of this list is on, I think most all of it will be on the sign up sheet for this project that Devin is putting together for us. But repair, replace the furnace. We believe that furnace can just be repaired. We believe it's workable, so I don't think we'll have to worry about replacing it. We're going to replace the flooring in the 2 bathrooms, replace ceiling tiles, repair interior walls and paint the building. Then IT set up in a computer library. We'll need electrical helpers for setting in ceiling lights, install kitchen ceiling fans, and all the different electrical issues that we're going to be tackling. We'll need some plumbers to help install toilets, raise the sink in the main bathroom, upgrade or install. I think upgrade is the word here on the rooftop swampers. We're hoping that they both can be used. Repair the playground equipment, weed and clean up the baseball field. I want somebody to create a 4x2 wooden sign that would be at the entrance of the building, something that says Halchita Community Center, something that's really cool looking. So if anybody knows how to do that, that would be great to hear. And then furnish the book library with shelves and children's books. And then on the close to Halloween, this project is over the 27th through the 31st of October, so it's Halloween time, and these kids love Halloween down there, and so we're going to do a trunk or treat planning project for them. And Governor Sappington is leading the charge on this. She's taught me what a trunk or treat Halloween project is. I always thought it was trick or treat, but trunk or treat is a better deal. And then plan and prepare and serve meals. So we need people in all of these different areas, and there may be more as we continue to look. We're going down there, a few of us are. in a week after next to fix and repair leaks and replace a lot of the piping and get that ready. We'll be kind of doing this. Some of the preliminary stuff will be done prior to the big group coming down, but there'll still be a lot of work. Next slide. Okay, lodging or camping. There's hotels in Bluff, which is 27 miles north of Halchita. There's RV parks there. Mexican Hat, which is only 2.4 miles from Halchita. There's, I think, 2 or 3 hotels there, or maybe 4. There's RV parks. Then down at Monument Valley, which is 19 miles south from Halchita, there's great accommodations there and RV parks. So those will be the target areas for you to stay in. Next slide. And comfortable lodging. I thought maybe some of you might want to go back to nature and find out what a hogan is like. And this is, I think, a sweat lodge, but nevertheless, it could provide you with protection. Next slide. Opportunities for service. Sign up for the area you'd like to work in, and here's the link to sign up. You could be working side by side with Navajo youth or adults. It's an opportunity to learn of the Navajo culture while doing service. We have people focusing on lining up people from the community that will help us understand the culture. We're not really sure exactly what all that will be now, but we have some good leads on different areas. So this will be a chance for those of you who've never been to the Navajo reservation to actually see what it's like. And I tell you, I've been working on this for, like I say, for 18 months, 2 years, and I've just learned to love this country. My wife is from Monticello, so it's not hard to get her to go down there. But it's a beautiful, beautiful place, and it's vast. And the other thing is go to the next slide. Opportunities for fun. There's 4-wheeling opportunities. It's a great, vast country to view. You can even get a selfie on the famous Forrest Gump Hill. It's amazing. They actually have a speed limit slow down to about 30 miles an hour through that area because so many people stop and take pictures of the Forrest Gump Hill. In Bluff, there's a pioneer fort and cemetery there that's well worth seeing. And the other thing is we're talking about working in shifts, so you'll have time for fun. That's a work in progress, but our idea is you go down and work, but also have time to have some fun. And it is October, so the daylight hours won't be all that much, but if we get a nice break with weather, it ought to be a great opportunity for you and your family members or whatever to actually see the area, have a great time, and do a fantastic work for these great people. And they are great people, and I love them. So I think
Rush you, but we got lots of questions when you're ready.
I'm done.
Okay, great. Great. I'm going to stop the screen share so we can see your face as you answer these questions. But
you couldn't see me before. Oh, good.
Yeah, just your screen mostly. So, how many years has the building been abandoned?
About 5 years.
Okay. And if someone signs up for one skill and you're short in another skill, will we be able to assist in the areas you are short in?
Well, we'll be very flexible on that. If you have skills to help in an area we're short on, or if it's just work, yeah, absolutely. This we'll make the best plan we possibly can and adjust as we go.
Does the roof need to be replaced?
No, the roof is good. It's a tin roof. It's solid. It's in place. The leaks is not from the roof. The leak is from pipelines, that the old copper pipelines that have cracked and broken, and so that's what we're replacing.
Do you need donations of books and candy for the trunk or treat or for the library?
Yes, for both. Yeah, anybody coming down, bring a bag of candy. That would be terrific.
Fantastic. That's good to know. Will there be a list of tools and or other supplies that people should bring with them?
Yes, we'll develop that here in the coming weeks, early enough to get the word out to everybody who signs up. I'm suspecting, like in terms of painting, that we will we'll have the everything that's needed for painting. We'll just need help, just need the workers.
Can Interact clubs participate? Any age restrictions?
No, I think we've only talked about like 14 and up. So Interact clubs would be great, and hope we're going to be working very diligently on getting as many of the Navajo youth involved. And so their intermingling with those kids would just be outstanding. And I see Natalie there. I think we end up getting some kids registered, Natalie?
So the 2 students that you're sponsoring, I'm just going to look really quick here. They're registered, but I don't have their paperwork. So Gabrielle, she got registered online, but I don't know. She needs to look for the email for her registration, her permission papers. And is it Navia? Is that how you pronounce her name?
Yeah, that's her sister.
Yeah, they both are registered, but I don't have their permission documents. And usually how that works is whatever email they put on their registration, the permission documents go to that email. So do they check their email, or do they have access to email?
Yes, they do.
Yeah,
and
so
I'll contact them tomorrow and tell them they need to get the rest of that up.
Yeah, they need to get those. So let them know that when they got registered online, then it's going to send them an email with the permission documents. And there's 5 documents them and their parents need to sign. And then they can take a picture of them and send them back. Their instructions are on that email of how to get the permission documents back to me, but I need those ASAP.
All right, great. Thank you.
And do you have transportation for them to get up here?
Their mother is bringing them.
Okay, so I do have the club from Monticello. The gentleman's coming up and bringing 1 student from Blanding, and I think it's 2 students from Monticello. Yeah, 2 students. If she wants to carpool or come with them, so she knows where to go,
Okay.
if that's a possibility.
All right, I'll talk to you tomorrow and get the names and so forth,
Yeah.
and we'll
Okay,
coordinate
do that.
that.
I don't want. Yep, perfect.
Thanks,
So next question. What if you have no skills?
You're just the kind of people that I am. So you got no skills, and so you got a strong back and well, I don't speak for myself, a weak mind, but you can we can use you for sure. So don't worry about that.
Great. Is there a need for coats? The Layton Club will have several hundred used coats to donate at the end of October.
Probably not. We have offered to take clothing down there to them before, but coats maybe. I'll check on that and see if they would like to have some coats. And who was it? The Layton Club, did you say?
Yep.
Okay, I'll make a note of that and find out and let them know.
Will this be an ongoing project or limited to this year only?
Well, the building will be only this year. I mean, we once we finish this building, well, let me back up. One thing I didn't say, and I need to, is that the San Juan Foundation, Lisa Carr, as I indicated, is the executive director. They have applied for a grant that will fund ongoing for 3 years, I believe, after school and weekend kind of activities in that building. And that's really a good grant that helps pay for a lot of different things. that are going to help. And so the only thing that the San Juan Foundation will have a continuing oversight of that grant. But other than that, the building will be turned over to the folks at Halchita and the Ojeda chapter. So there won't be any further Rotary on the building. Now, will the Native American initiative continue? Absolutely. I mean, we have other things that we're looking to doing for other tribes as well. The Shoshones up in the north. And I've got a big project coming up that we're probably going to call on people to help with. And so there's still more work to be done, but it's not only for the Navajos, it's for other areas. Our initiative covers all the tribes in the state, and there's a lot of them. And so we have contacts with each of them. And so we'll have a lot more work to do.
Great. Can we take toothbrushes along with the bags of candy?
I would think that'd be a really good idea.
Where do we get more information about the initiative?
Well, there's several articles been written that's been published on the newsletter, on the website, about what we've been doing, what we've done. I don't know where else, whatever else you need to know. I mean, I would be happy to respond with whatever if they want to just email me more information.
Great. Is this event exclusive to Rotarians, or can we bring
No.
our friends?
Bring your friends, family.
What work would youth be able to do?
Well, youth can push a paintbrush, a paint roller. They can help with a lot of those things, a lot of lifting and carrying and moving stuff around and helping with food. We're going to need a good crew of people that are working with food. So youth can be involved in all of those things.
Can our children and grandchildren participate in the trunk or treat? Do you need us to participate in decorating our trunks?
Absolutely. Yeah, they need to decorate their trunks. I've not done this, I got to tell you, but Linda knows how to do it, and so she's in charge. So yes, they can be participants.
So 2 questions have just popped in about the $50 fee. We're charging people $50 to participate. What does that cover? And can we volunteer for free?
Well, that's a good question. The $50 basically will cover the food portion of the cost, and that's about it. Can you come down for free? I don't care, but Devin, Linda, you're the ones that are behind that. So what's your feeling on it?
I would say the answer to that is no, unless you get special individualized permission from Paul. So reach out to Paul to get permission if you want to show up without paying. Let's coordinate that on a one case-by-case basis. Is that all right, Paul?
That's all right. I'm pretty tough, so watch out for me.
What exact time and place should we plan to meet?
Well, I think if you go down on the 27th, let's see, the 27th is, let's see, 27th is a Thursday, right? I should have this all memorized. But the 28th, 29th, 30th, and 31st. So the work will actually start on the 28th. And so if you go down the 27th, then you'll be ready to go to work first thing in the morning on the 28th. Or if you can't do that and you come down later, that's fine too. So yeah, the work will start on the 28th, and hopefully we'll have everything done and be able to go home on the 31st. We will go home on the 31st.
What should people bring?
Well, certainly don't go down thinking it's hot. Because it will be that time of year, it could be cool. Actually, the elevation down there is not much different from Salt Lake. It's a high desert area, and although it's in southern Utah, down just a few miles from the border, it can get cool as well. So come prepared for that. And depending, if you want to camp, RVs, whatever else, I suspect you could even pitch a tent if you wanted to. Actually, today, Lisa told me about a building that San Juan Foundation owns in Mexican Hat. It's an old church house. And there are people who have been using it, but they're not using it during this time period. And so there's an area, there's a building there that can be portioned off and several people can stay there. Bring a cot and sleeping bag. There's running water, there's toilets, there's even a baptismal font that you could shower in. So it sounds like a pretty interesting building. So if you're really looking, and there's no cost associated with that. So that may be something that somebody wants to look at. And Lisa is the contact for that.
Great. We kind of covered this, but I think it's important enough to sort of reiterate this question because if the question's framed differently, will any food be provided?
Yes. We envision a light breakfast. Many of the hotels will provide some breakfast as you stand in them. But muffins, juice, coffee, that kind of thing, and sandwiches and so forth for lunch. That's still a work in progress, actually. But we do have a budget for food with the $50 a piece, and so that food will be provided with that money. And we'll have an evening meal.
What is the plan for the ballpark? What needs to be done?
Well, it's interesting. There's no bases. There's we need to have some bases. We'll need to pull some weeds out of there, kind of clean it up a little bit. That little building that's a dugout there, we'll need to have some serious work done on it. We're looking also, somebody suggested in our meeting last night that they may want to play soccer instead of baseball. And we'll find that out in our meeting when we're down there in a week or so about what the kids' desires are. A lot of kids like soccer nowadays. And these Navajo kids are good athletes. In the bigger areas, there's some of these kids go to national meets and so forth, so they're good athletes and they love sports. So the ball field just needs cleaned up, and that building, hopefully we can repair that little dugout a little bit so they got some place to sit.
Do folks have to commit for all 3 days, or can we come down for 1 or 2 days?
Well, that's a good question, and we've given a lot of thought to that, but I suspect we could.
Paul, when you rub your hand on the desk, we can't hear you.
I'm sorry. You could come for a couple of days. I think that would be acceptable. I hope not everybody does that, but if that's the only way it can fit in your schedule, then we're happy to have you.
Great. Are you familiar with the ARPA funding, ARPA funding that has been designated for infrastructure for Native American tribes?
Not really. There are so many things from the government that are available for Native American tribes that it's hard to keep track of them all. But I can tell you, one of the interesting things is that the Navajo Nation is the largest nation in the United States, but the Utah Strip is a very small part of that Navajo Nation. And I read their Navajo Times newspaper online, and it never mentions the Utah portion. It only talks about New Mexico and Arizona. And so when stuff happens, like grants and so forth, generally, a lot of times, that's where it goes. And so that's why this little forgotten place of Halchita is why we're working there.
Fantastic. I think that is all the questions, Paul, and it is coincidentally about time for us to wrap up. So maybe we should turn the time back to Joyce.
That's great. Thank you very much.
All right. I would like to thank Paul. This was very informative and very interesting. And before we go into the four-way test, Natalie would like to tell us the two students in addition to the ones from the Navajo Reservation that will be going to RILA.
So the eClub, we are going to sponsor two students. Spencer Weller is one of the young men that registered, actually applied. He's from South Summit Elementary School. He's actually one of my neighbors. Great kid. He's a twin, and his twin brother can't come, but he can come, and he's really excited. And then Larry Chatterton reached out, and his son Sam wanted to attend RILA. So we're going to sponsor Larry's son Sam. So those two boys, I've already sent them the RILA award letter and gave them the registration because we need the kids to get registered as soon as possible. So those two students will be going from the eClub. And we had an anonymous donor of $450 a person donated to put towards our students. So we only need to pay $100 for that. And the RILA committee will send that invoice to the eClub for the additional $100 to pay for that. So that's exciting that we're going to be sending two students from the eClub. I just thanks for everybody's support, and I know it will change those boys' lives.
All right, Natalie, would you like to do the four-way test right away too, please?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Thank
So
you.
the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendship? Fourth, will it be beneficial for all? And fifth, is it fun? Because I'm all about fun.
Thank you, Natalie. And thank you, everybody, for attending our meeting tonight. This was a very good meeting. Have a good evening.
Thank you.